This is Jose Merino, Editor-in-Chief of the Neurology family of journals. The Neurology podcast provides practical information to neurologists and other clinicians to help them provide better care for their patients. Thanks for listening and have a great week.
Hi, this is Stacey Clardy at the Salt Lake City VA and the University of Utah. Today I'm really excited. We have the president of the American Academy of Neurology with us on the podcast, Carlayne Jackson. Carlayne, in addition to being the president, is also the chair of neurology at the University of Texas, San Antonio. And we love when we get the opportunity every couple of years to talk to our president of the American Academy of Neurology, because Carlayne in this role really has probably a better sense than anyone of what is the state of neurology nationally, internationally, what are the challenges, what are the things we need to focus on and strategically go after in the coming years. So thanks so much, Carlayne, for coming on to chat today.
You bet.
Now, I'm not sure how you managed to do all this in the course of the day, but before we get down to the details of what's going on and what's affecting us as neurologists, I just want to know, if you happen to have spare time, what do you actually do? What are your hobbies? What fuels you outside of neurology?
I have a 17-month-old grandson in Austin, Texas, so I spend a lot of weekends driving up and down the I-35 corridor. And I have 2 Labradoodle dogs that I inherited during the pandemic. And so walking the dogs at the end of the day with loud rock and roll music is another way that I like to spend free time. Been married for 40 years and love to just have a glass of wine with my husband and cook dinner every night.
Is there more loud rock and roll music now that you're in charge of running things as the president of the AAN?
Actually, I'm a Peloton addict, so I listen to Peloton outdoors, and I've enjoyed really a large range of music. So it's been an opportunity to get to know a lot of different music genres.
Wow. So you are really quite busy to manage to squeeze all that into a 24-hour period. I most recently saw you in person at the annual meeting. So tell us, we're still, I think, all somewhat regrouping after the lockdown of the pandemic. How do you think it went? What do we need to know about what happened when we all got together?
Yeah, so we were able to bring 14,000 people to the meeting. We really celebrated the neurologic community at the event, and we just got back some statistics that 82% of the participants felt like it was the best professional gathering that they had attended all year. So we were really pleased with the feedback. We really heard people say that we did a great job of celebrating community. We were able to really create a space and an opportunity for everyone to feel like they belonged. And we really tried to focus on impact versus the quantity of programming. Having said that, we had over 2,600 abstracts. We had 180 courses. We had 250 hub talks, 2,200 posters. We had over 550 CME credits that we were able to provide. So I think overall we were really pleased with the success of the meeting. I think the other really cool thing about being president is I was able to attend the science committee meetings, the meeting management committee meetings, and the education committee meetings, and seeing all the work that goes into organizing this monumental event and understanding all of the volunteer time that it took to make it successful.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And seeing the staff just running around the entire week. I think whoever came up with the sneaker idea was brilliant.
But with smiles on their faces, which was great.
So that is obviously a huge event for the year. It's great to hear the recap, but it's only just one event out of the year. And obviously the Academy has to do a lot of things all year. And not everyone can make it to the meeting in the end. So tell us about other opportunities we need to be aware of in terms of engagement and ways that we can get benefit from our American Academy of Neurology membership.
CME and educational opportunities are the number one reason people join the Academy. And so not only do we have the annual meeting, but we do have a fall conference, we have a summer conference, and everything is available online. If not participating at the time of the event, you can get access to these programs so that you can listen to the educational programming when it's convenient for you. So I think we're really trying to make our educational opportunities easy to find, easy to use, and really specific to the user. So that's one of the things that we're working on. We're also trying to just enhance the member experience in other ways apart from education. And one of those is really our advocacy efforts. So every year as a member, you probably get information to complete a survey to say, what are the priorities that you want our organization working on? And we listened to that. So last year, our top priorities really related to access to care, reducing all those regulatory and administrative burdens that everyone just hates, and focusing on the neurology workforce, which also ties into access to care. Certainly, we have Neurology on the Hill. We have opportunities for you to just click a button to connect with your congressman. But we're really transitioning now, I think, to an era where we're going to focus more on state advocacy. And so we're going to be asking our members to be more involved on a local level in all of the issues that are facing our members. I don't know if anyone realizes the scope of engagement with our membership, but while we have 40,000 members, we have 6,800 members that volunteer in some capacity to the organization. And we have over 800 committee and subcommittee assignments for our members. So I'm hopeful that if nothing else, if listening to this podcast, people recognize that there are so many ways to get engaged and get involved with the organization. And we need you. We can't. The staff really don't run this organization. It's really the volunteers behind the staff working together that make us a successful organization.
You said a lot in that couple of minutes there. I'm going to pick up on a couple of things. I would be remiss if I didn't say yes. I am very much looking forward to the summer meeting. It's July 19th and 20th in Atlanta. And I've been fortunate to be involved because the topic is autoimmune neurology and neuroinfectious disease this year. Hopefully anyone with an interest comes there. We did just see the abstracts and all of the things. And wow, it's an absolute tour de force. Thanks for that cue to make me remember to mention the summer meeting. My question is, too, tell me about the role of the AAN internationally. We have such a large international listenership on the podcast, and often we get questions about impact outside of just the States. Can you comment a little bit on that?
Sure. It's been really eye-opening in engaging and participating with the World Federation of Neurology, the European Academy of Neurology, the Indian Academy of Neurology. We actually meet with these organizations every year at the annual meeting, as well as we've had the opportunity to go to some of their meetings. And it's been inspiring how much overlap there are in terms of the strategic priorities within all of these organizations worldwide. I just thought the U.S. was having a workforce shortage. The workforce issue is a huge issue, where in the United States, we're seeing a decrease in the number of people going into general neurology. This is something that they're seeing globally. In terms of research, there are needs to promote neuroscience research globally. In terms of brain health, same story. Everyone understands that we really need to educate the community and advocate for preventive strategies to reduce the economic burden of brain disorders. I think that we are all recognizing the fact that neurologic issues are global and not unique to a specific geographic area. And collaborating and working together is going to really be essential for us to be successful moving the ship forward in all of these areas. So whatever we do in the U.S. really does translate to a global level. And we are very mindful and engaged with global organizations working on these same issues.
And you did mention quickly brain health. And I will just say we have a separate podcast episode with Natalia Rust talking about brain health and all the details of really what comes down to us as neurologists taking the discussion outside the clinic to the entire public and everything that has been built with the Brain Health Initiative to help us do that. So we won't get too far into the details of that today, but do look that episode up as well. So this is a lot of information on where we are now. What are you excited about for the AAN as a whole, just as an organization? What makes you really say, this is worth all the work, this is fun, this is the most exciting thing going on?
You mentioned that this is where we are now. I think what I'm really excited about is our new strategic plan, which really tells us where we're going to be 5 years from now. And we have, as a board of directors, have spent a lot of time really trying to figure out where we need to focus and put our resources and our time and effort, and really what that envisioned future for neurology should look like. And so as part of the new strategic plan, we left our vision the same. So we still want to be indispensable to our members, but our mission has expanded to include enhancement of member career fulfillment, but also the promotion of brain health for all. That's a new thing. And so that new focus on brain health is really what I'm excited about personally for our organization. We also have changed our values, or at least we've refocused them and redefined them. And so the focus on community, I think hopefully people felt that at the annual meeting, but that sense of belonging as a group of neurologists, not as subspecialists necessarily, but as neurologists, and what that means in terms of our strength in being successful in advocacy and education. Leadership, I'm excited about our leadership programs. We're expanding those programs to try to make them more accessible. Hopefully you'll see more leadership programming online and incorporated into our educational conferences. We know that neurologists are one of the most burned out populations of physicians in the United States. And so that focus on what we can do to promote wellness, which certainly circles back to advocacy efforts to reduce the burden of all of the paperwork we have to do to get medications to our patients. And then our focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion. We don't give lip service to this. This is part of our core value and something that we really are focusing on, to the point that we now have a committee focusing on DEI efforts within the organization, and that chairman sits on our board of directors now.
What is something or several things that you've learned, because you've obviously been involved for many years with the organization, but what is something you've learned in your role as president and sitting at the meetings and engaging with members about the organization that you really did wish all members knew?
I'm hopeful that all members know that the vision that's created is a vision that's created by volunteers, and that we have one of the most incredible staffs, and they listen to our crazy ideas and are so successful in operationalizing kind of the vision of what we want to create. And we laugh and say it's that secret sauce between the staff and the volunteers, but it's so true. And I also hope that people understand that volunteering in an organization like the Academy, while we're all feeling very burned out in our professional lives, contributing to things bigger than yourself and being able to change things outside of your little specific world is so empowering, so inspiring, so energizing, and certainly the best antidote for burnout. So I'm hopeful that people get excited about being engaged and don't see it as just another thing to do, and look at the success that we've been able to experience through the translation of just ideas from lots of people who are engaged and care about the field of neurology.
I think back to probably what were the most challenging years of my career. I think they're the most challenging for many people. And that's the first couple years out of training, when there's so much pressure, there's no playbook. You have to generate a certain amount of revenue, but nobody's telling you how to do it. For many people, they're not sleeping well because they might have caregiving responsibilities in any number of ways. And I remember just thinking, I do not have the energy to get to the annual meeting, but I did get there, and like coming back so energized. That's actually a really distinct memory for me.
And I think that there are seasons for everything. So I had 3 children during residency and fellowship. I didn't start volunteering at the Academy until my kids were school age. And certainly I don't want to put the burden of people thinking that they have to do everything at all times of their lives. But there certainly are stages in which you're probably better prepared to think about that. You recognize the challenges, right, in your workplace. But it's fun to be able to brainstorm with really brilliant, excited people and think, how can we change this? And if we don't change it, nobody is. And things are going to continue to be done to us. So unless we're advocating for ourselves, I think we're just going to continue to burn out. So we really do need to have that very clear vision of what we want to change and then work together to do that.
If we don't change it, for sure, no one else is going to. Any last thoughts for all the neurology clinicians?
I will say that you had mentioned the international involvement in the Academy, and we are starting a global advocacy leadership program. So we're combining the Palatucci advocacy program with our leadership program. into a kind of a 1-year experience that will begin in San Diego and will end in Seoul, Korea at the World Federation of Neurology. And it's a collaboration with the WFN, World Federation of Neurology. So for those who are interested, we should be getting that information out soon for applications. And I'd encourage everyone who's interested in making a difference globally to consider applying.
Fantastic. And so really, neurologists from around the world are invited to get involved that way?
They're actually the only ones that can apply. You have to live outside of the United States to be eligible to participate.
Wow.
And we're really going to be focusing more on the low and low middle income countries.
Thanks so much. I appreciate your time. I am sure you need to get back to clinic. So
I have resident continuity clinic, so that's where I'm headed.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Again, I've been speaking with the president of the American Academy of Neurology, also known to many as the supervisor and resident clinic today, and the chair of the department at the University of Texas, San Antonio. Carlayne, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Stacey.
If you've enjoyed the podcast, please take a few moments to subscribe, rate, and review the Neurology Podcast through Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen. And remember, you can always head to neurology.org/podcast for our full list of past episodes, or you can also search by keyword in your podcast app for any neurology-specific topics you want to learn about.